I want to talk to you.
Not now, later.
No, now.
Hey everyone, welcome to this special episode of OCuTALK. My name's Nick, and today we're going to be doing something a little different here. We're actually going to be introducing someone you're all very familiar with. He's the Executive Vice President of OCuSoft, and for the better part of this year, he has been the host of OCuTALK, Thomas Mason. Thomas, thank you so much for joining us today. I know you've been very busy, so thank you for giving us the time.
Well, thanks for having me, Nick. It's certainly a new thing being on the other side of the camera here.
Absolutely. Well, we're very excited about this episode. So how I want to get started first is how you typically get started with your interviewees. I just wanted to say, can you introduce yourself and tell us about your role here at OCuSoft and what that all entails?
Sure. So I am the Executive Vice President here at OCuSoft. I've been with OCuSoft for, I guess, almost 11 years now, maybe even 12 years. I've been here a long time. Let's put it that way. So as you said, my job here is Executive Vice President. And so what does that mean, really? I think really what it means to me is that my job is to help facilitate all these different departments getting done what they need to get done. So we've got a lot of really smart, capable people here, and all of them kind of work within their own little sphere. And we empower them to do that. And so my job is just to make sure that everybody's pulling on the same side of the rope, meeting the strategy, and that everybody is working together. So if somebody says needs some help from another department or needs some guidance on strategy or something like that, that's what I do.
Keeping everyone in line and keeping everyone busy. I like it. Good deal. So actually, can you go into it a little bit further about your tenure here at OCuSoft and how you became to be the Executive Vice President here?
Sure. So interestingly enough, I actually started my career in software development and IT. So when I first came to OCuSoft, I actually came here as a consultant when they were starting up SAP here for the first time. And so I think when I first came here, I worked here a couple days a week, and we were working on a lot of different things. And then over time, that became where I would come here every week. And I think at one point I talked to Sue Harrith, who was the VP of operations at the time. And I said, you know what, I think I should work here. And she said, yeah, I think you should work here. So I came, I worked with OCuSoft in IT for, I think I was only directly in IT for about 3 years. And then eventually what happened is I was involved in SAP in the ERP system and the accounting system, and I was learning more and more and getting more intimately involved in the accounts here. And eventually, I decided to go back to school and get my MBA. So I did, and then I came back to OCuSoft and have continued to climb up the ranks, so to speak, into the role that I'm in now. And I think it's been good for me because in my tenure here, I've worked at least with every department. And so I know a little bit about what everybody does. There's lots of different ways to program, and I know tons of different languages. So I could, if I wanted to, I could program everything that I ever did in assembly language. And that might be beneficial because I would have a lot of control over exactly how the software does everything that it does. And it may be the most effective way of doing it. But it's by far not the most efficient way. And in software, we talk about these layers of abstraction, right? So you're programming in a higher language that eventually gets compiled down into the lower language. And I think really that's kind of the way it works in management too. I think there's two ways of looking at how you manage things. One option is that you could sort of micromanage, right? Like you could write it in the assembly code, and maybe that would be the most effective, that you could go down and you could work hand in hand with these people, and you could make sure that 100% all of your exact thoughts and strategy are put forward into the actual actions. However, I would submit to you that that's by far not the most effective or efficient way of doing it. While it may be the most effective way in terms of making sure that strategy is adhered to, it's not very efficient in the sense that, number one, it takes up your time. And number two, what it does is it makes sure that those managers, and even all the way down to any worker in the company, they get this mindset that they're not capable of making decisions, right? And when we talk about how does one move into an executive role? And we talked about being willing and able to make a decision. Well, if you are constantly making decisions for people, they never get into a position where they feel like they are willing and able to make a decision. And as a consequence, that leaves the manager to always be down there writing in assembly code, always micromanaging. So I think really in a company, I think what's far more efficient and effective is for managers to find capable individuals that are capable of making decisions on their own, right? So people that you know are capable, people that you trust. And then really the manager's job simply becomes to facilitate those decisions, to make sure that they have all the information that they need, to make sure that that they know exactly what the strategy is, to make sure that you're helping them communicate with other departments and that everybody's pulling on the same side of the rope. And by doing that, that would allow the manager to free up some of their time so that now they could start working with other departments or even potentially open other business avenues. And again, even in that scenario, you would again hire people that are capable of doing things. And then really for upper management, it really just becomes a situation where you need to simply guide those people, make sure that they can communicate. And I think that mechanism of management is far more effective and efficient than any sort of micromanagement that you would do. And that's the way I look at things. So I look at things as making sure that when we're hiring people, that we're hiring smart, capable people that are capable of making decisions. And then really my role is just to guide them in terms of strategy and make sure that they can work within the budgets and work within the parameters of the other departments. And I think that that's the best way to manage companies, individuals, and departments.
So you've been here, you've said for 11, almost 12 years now. How have you seen the eye care industry change in those 11 to 12 years?
Well, I think it's changed a lot. When I first started here, websites weren't necessarily a new thing, but I think we were still kind of in that phase where people were a little hesitant to put their credit card information online, and we were still seeing the bulk of sales coming from over the phone and or through traditional retailers. I think we all know that's been changing for years now, and the current pandemic has certainly accelerated those to where now, it's just about everybody buys stuff online. And in fact, I would think in a lot of cases, people almost exclusively buy online, and that's been a huge change. It changes people's buying habits. It changes the ways that companies learn about their customers. Certainly now we have the ability to sort of really hone in on our message, because now we have better understanding of who's buying the product. Whereas before, if they were going through doctor's offices or going through a retailer, like, you knew that the product was sold, but you don't have any way of actually knowing the demographic of the person that's purchasing it. And as a result, it's hard to get your message exactly right, and it's hard to always get your products exactly right. But now that you have more access to information because things are going digital and all of that, I think the products that we're seeing come out now, not only from OCuSoft, but in the industry in general, I think they're a lot more specific. They're a lot more honed in on specific disorders that people are trying to treat. And frankly, like, there's just a lot more availability now for treatments that there weren't before, because it's so easy to go online and purchase these products. And I think that digital transformation continues even today. Through going through these OCuTALK interviews, I've learned that one of the biggest things that I've heard from a lot of doctors is talking about telemedicine and how they're using telemedicine. I know I have used telemedicine numerous times. In fact, I would say if you want to say what one of the top subjects for 2020 on OCuTALK was, it was telemedicine. And certainly COVID's contributed to that. But these were trends that we were seeing long before COVID hit, and that's why that it picked up so much with COVID. And I think that you're going to continue to see that trend. You're going to continue to see people moving more towards a digital world. I think I've seen a lot of things about digital diagnostic devices, lots of doctors starting up their own websites, more and more people going to Amazon to purchase products. And I think that that's going to continue, that we're going to continue to see more and more digitization in eye care. more and more use of machine learning, other things like that. And frankly, I'm really excited for it. I think a lot of great things are going to come from that. Obviously, I have a vested interest in technology as that's where I came from, but I'm really excited to see more and more technology used in the industry.
Well, I mean, yeah, technology, it's been so great for all of us. And we've been talking about new developments in the industry. And I kind of wanted to also talk about new developments here at OCuSoft, because I just wanted to kind of ask you what new or interesting things that are developments are happening at OCuSoft right now.
Well, we've got a lot of construction projects that are going on at AcuSoft right now. So a couple of years ago, we found ourselves out of space. So the company had continued growing, which is fantastic, but we were running out of spaces for offices. And so we said, well, we need to expand our offices. So we started drawing up plans for that. And then during that conversation, we said, well, actually, we actually don't have enough space in our warehouse anymore. At least we won't in the near future if we don't expand that as well. So we drew up plans to expand the warehouse. So we did that. And both of those facilities opened in the last couple of months, actually just right before quarantine. And then most recently, we're working on some projects to be a little bit more vertically integrated. So we're opening up some other facilities to help us with secondary packaging and some other things like that. And it's a really exciting time for us. It's really important to us that, especially in light of everything that's happened this year, it's really important to us to make sure that the supply chain stays where it needs to be.
I did want to talk about a little bit of change because, with everything, you talked to a lot to your doctors in interviews about COVID-19, how that's changed their practice, what different protocols that they've been going through. Can you kind of go through what OCuSoft's been going through as far as COVID-19? How has that changed our protocols? Are there any new protocols in place because of it?
Yeah, I think that probably the biggest thing that we've been dealing with, and I think really the biggest thing that I think everybody needs to deal with COVID is just being sure that you're staying vigilant. COVID is a big deal. It is. There are lots of people that have had lots of serious issues with COVID. But the thing that's interesting about it is, in a lot of ways, there's easy steps that we can take to sort of mitigate those problems. So here at OCuSoft, obviously, we're wearing masks throughout the building. We've been implemented temperature checks to make sure that everybody that's coming in the building is getting temperature checked. But I think probably the biggest piece of this is just making sure that we're staying vigilant with our social distancing, that we're washing our hands, that we're cleaning up the office. We have been using hypochlor spray in ludicrous amounts around here. We've been I have seen people walking through the halls cleaning the walls with hypochlor spray.
Well, definitely, and we're definitely at the finish line here. And I know OCuSoft's been doing a fantastic job of everything they've been doing, from, like you said, from temperature checks to hypocloring everything, and for the UV lighting. So it's been really great to come in here and know that we're all safe doing our jobs. And then I guess one question I want to go through with you, if you could just go into the future with me a little bit. I want to ask, like, where do you see OCuSoft in 10 years? Like, just where will we be? And maybe you can give me like a future glimpse of what we can expect.
Well, I think we'll continue to bring out innovative products. We've got a lot of things in the pipeline right now of new products that we've got coming out. And I think that there's lots of exciting things coming on that front. I think that we'll continue to see growth in the at Amazon and online, and I think we'll continue to see that. But for us, OCuSoft, it's always been important to us that we keep the lines of communication and always give preference to the doctor, right? I think that was why we wanted to have this OCuTALK, to talk to the doctors, because really, when it comes to eye care, that's kind of your first line of defense, right? Like, after you've been diagnosed, you find out what's going on. Yes, you can go get these OTC products, and yes, you can find out what's going on, but we've always wanted to keep a tight relationship with those doctors, and I think that we'll continue to do that. We'll continue to make products available for doctors to sell out of their office, and we'll continue trying to help find ways for them to build up their practices and help patients. And I think that's those sort of things will continue. I think we will continue to see our campus expand. I think we'll continue to see our international footprint expand. and we'll continue to see our product lines expand. And I'm really looking forward to some of the new and exciting things that are going to be coming out in the future.
Well, awesome. I'm very excited about it, and I'm very excited that you're going to be the one helping lead us into the future there. Well, Thomas, that's all the questions that we had for you today. We appreciate you coming by, and thank you again for taking the time out of your day to speak with us.
Well, thanks a lot, Nick. It's, as I said, it's interesting being on this side of the camera. So here's to you.